Okay, sir. Okay.
Well, let me share my screen so that you can see what we are going to learn today. Okay, just a second. Give me a second. I am going to share my screen. So yeah, now I think you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
So let's begin. So if someone is like want to come, then we will admit them. But we don't want to waste our time, and let's begin with it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, as we discussed, module one is related with some basic concept like what is UX UI design and understanding the user-centered design, what it is actually, and the role of a UX UI designer in product development. Product development is making a kind of digital product like website or mobile applications. So these are the things that we are uh, going to understand in a very deep manner. And another thing is exploring some of the successful design example and case studies. So, see, basically, UX UI designer is not only a kind of a theoretical or approach; it's moreover a practical approach. So that we have to build a kind of portfolio even in we are trying to apply for the entry level. At least we have to show the what you call our skill and knowledge, and based on the portfolio, the employer will decide whether we have a good amount of skills or knowledge or not. Obviously, and later on we can learn, but at least we have to show something that we are in the right path. And later I will discuss about the design principles. Okay, so these are the things that I'm going to explain or we are going to learn in this particular topics. So first one is the user experience. Okay, so user is in a simple way, user experience means the how the person will react with or how the user will feel when using a kind of application, mobile application, or a kind of any e-commerce platform or web-based application or any kind of software or websites, anything like a digital product. When, for example, let's take an example. If you try to use your e-commerce site like Amazon, then I hope you will find a great kind of experience while searching a product. You will get immediately on Amazon, and you can proceed the like a checkout process, and you can pay easily, and you will get the product very easily and very fast. So likewise, if you tried some of the local e-commerce platform, then there might be a kind of difficult to search the product and difficult to get the product what you are looking for, and sometimes it is quite difficult to go to the checkout and like a purchasing process. So these are kind of experience that what you have to do is as a UX UI designer, you have to try to understand the feelings of user. So now you are standing in a little bit different sector, different area. Now you are not a user. What you are? You are a designer. You are designing a kind of, or you are doing some research. How the user, how the customer are reacting, and what is their feelings. Trying to understand their feelings. So firstly, in a simple way that you have to understand as a user experience, you are trying to understand the feelings of user while using a kind of particular product. Then you have to understand their feelings, whether they are irritated or whether they are like jumping one app to another app, or whether they are like sticking one particular apps and they are purchasing whatever they wanted in particular application. For example, in a simple way, Amazon is a kind of huge platform, whether it is in a desktop version or whether it is in a mobile version. Why? Because they have a large team of UX user experience team, and they constantly improving their application for the perspective of user experience. Well, let me ask you a few questions. So, for example, have you tried any kind of e-commerce platform or any kind of application that you feel sometimes, oh, I don't want to use these, or whether you are lost while using any application? Let's start with Tamil, I think. Yeah. So have you ever encountered such kind of problems, yeah, while using any application?
Yeah, sometimes some apps when I use when it's stuck or like I don't get through what I want, I feel like it's not working properly that way.
Yeah, exactly true. This is the
Yeah, I have
problem.
experienced that.
Yeah, great. That is a kind of user experience that you feel. And now what you have to think is, now you are a designer. You have to think of the designer perspective. Okay, so as a UX UI designer, what is the best possible solution that you can come up with so that you can bypass that particular thing? So the thinking process, when you start such kind of thinking process, then you are becoming a good user experience designer. So this is the things that as a user experience. So now I would like to ask with the Afad. So have you ever encountered with such kind of problem while purchasing, or while maybe trying to book any kind of plane or a flight ticket, or maybe a train ticket, or anything, or maybe purchasing some kind of product, anything? Have you ever encountered any problem? Okay, Afat, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Okay, I'm asking a question that have you ever encountered any kind of problem during purchasing any product, or during booking any tickets, or anything?
Yes, sir. The transaction issues maybe sometimes the ticket is not confirmed because of the transaction. It may
Mm-hmm.
vary like due to some bugs issue or server issue,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or like reloading.
And have you ever tried to think like what will be the possible solution? So in a simple way, obviously you haven't idea as a user experience, but at least you have come up with some kind of, okay, I think if they have done this, then I think the process will be easy, or
Like
that process might be get easier, and I can put.
yeah, one time I had an issue while booking a ticket from Hyderabad to Karnataka, like
Mhm.
Bangalore.
Mhm.
I opened an application KSRTC and
Mhm.
I booked a ticket through online. But
Okay.
I don't know, somehow it was got cancelled and my money was deducted from my account.
Mhm.
Though I called the KSRTC customer service and asked, they told me about they take somewhere around 7 to 15 days. We should have to wait until and unless it will be confirmed. So
Mhm.
when I went to the bus stand like physically,
Mhm.
the same like the seat was not occupied by
Okay.
somebody. So
Okay.
this should be resolved, sir. Like somehow we should have a good, we should clear all these kind of bugs through like a two-step verification,
Mhm.
and this thing have to be done, sir. Like it will be like if someone doesn't have money, like the money have been deducted, only money remaining with them is, it's quite difficult to travel. It's quite difficult to bear. They should take our
Okay.
some some
Okay.
like money.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you started thinking a kind of solution approach to this that problem. So likewise, you have to think as a UX UI designer, what will be the
Yeah,
possible solution? And first, you have to identify the problem. Obviously, finding a solution is easy when you able to find out the exact problem. So finding the problem and finding the solution is the, like, what you called a kind of user experience. You are getting a problem first, finding a problem, and then you're trying to get the solution for that problem is user experience. Well, let's welcome our two students, Faith and Riddhi. So hello guys, hi, good evening.
very good evening.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Faith, yeah.
hi,
Hi, hi.
good
Good evening. Good
evening.
evening. Okay. And sorry for
Apologies, I'm late.
okay, okay. It's okay. So, and Riddhi, hi.
Hello.
Okay. So, Well, we are continue our class. Okay, so sorry for the late. Obviously, you have to anyway. And we are talking about the user experience, and I was telling what is the user experience in a simple way. I will try to like repeat it in a simple way, in short way. Like a user experience is a kind of a process or trying to identify the what do you call pain point and try to identify the problems and try to identify the solution for that particular problem is a kind of user experience. So I was asking a question with Tamil and Arfad is like, have you ever encountered a kind of any user problem while using your e-commerce website or maybe a kind of ticket booking system or anything? So likewise, I would like to ask you, both of you, so let's start with the Riddhi. So have you ever encountered any kind of problem during or while using your mobile application, any kind of mobile application or website?
Actually, I don't remember right now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of faced it before and don't remember which is.
Okay, no worries, no worries, no worries, no worries. So you can share anytime. So well, let's talk with the Faith. So have you ever encountered any kind of situation, Faith?
Yeah, sometimes it could be that there's so much, information to provide. The
Mm-hmm.
steps are too many. Having too many steps to fill, sort of just two or three steps to get to
Mm-hmm.
what you want to get to. So it can be very
Mm-hmm.
frustrating. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, if the information is not well structured, where to click, the touch points or where to click, that could be a challenge for me.
Yeah, right. Correct, correct. Yeah, these are the things that comes under the user experience. Obviously, basically here I am trying to give you a kind of some kind of what do you call a definition about the user experience, and these are the person point that Faith mentioned. These are the things that we have to like reduce as a UX UI designer. What do you have to identify it? What are the steps that we can reduce to make it what do you call feels good about and while using the application by the user, then they should be able to like finish the tasks quickly as much as possible. For example, let's take an example of purchasing any order from Amazon or some other application. I am taking an example of Amazon. It's quite what do you call worldwide. Everyone is using. That is why I am taking, so that you can find very easy. So if you want to purchase a product in Amazon, then you can easily product like you can search the product and search the result also very what do you call very fast. You can search in a easy way and then you can purchase very easily, and their checkout process is quite easy. So yeah, Afad, do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
I had faced a issue that I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
Like while entering some kind of passwords, they may ask after entering password, like if you see some kind of images, press on the same images. But sometimes we press the wrong image.
Hmm.
Like I don't know what is that. Like some numbers are there. G5, small letter, alpha, large capital, small cap, like that. That type of there.
Hmm.
Sometimes images also come, like footpath or a signal or some kind of vehicles or like that. It will come. So it will sometimes face very difficulty to answer that. Maybe
Okay.
it may ask you are not a robot, like that.
Hmm. Hmm. These are actually trying to collect the data. It's like huge science behind the what do you call try to identify the robot. It's a different thing. Thus, they are trying to teaching the what do you call the machine to identify the object, and we are actually entering our we are voluntarily providing the information about that. It's a different thing. Anyway, we will talk about those things later. But yeah, this is also a kind of problems. Because of that, user will find a kind of irritated to use
Yeah,
any application. Yeah, it comes also under
yeah,
the user experience, and we have to
yeah,
bypass those kind of problems. These are the things.
yeah. Captcha type captcha.
Yeah, captcha. Yeah. So yeah, in a simple, I would like to repeat here what it is written in our slide. So user experience is a kind of design refers to the process of creating product or systems that provide a meaningful and relevant experience to the user. It involves understanding user behavior, needs and motivation to design products that are user friendly and efficient. So whenever we are trying to build a kind of product, first you have to come up with one idea. So in this world there are so many products already designed and developed by so many other people. So here we are not a new, okay. It is quite hard to get a new idea and work on a new concept. So there is already lots of thousands of references are there. So we have to come up with a kind of a very easy way and the best solution to the user, so that we can like make a great product. So and the main role is with UX designer. UX designer is going to identify or is going to give a kind of full report whether that product is actually going to work or not. Because the user experience design, UX designer will invest so many hours of time, so many hours of what you call effort to make the product very efficient and trying to understand the user needs, what they want, how they want to collaborate with the product, and how they want to interact with the product. For example, simply I will give you the example of a website. In a simple way, let's if you try to visit a website where there is less aesthetic and less what do you call functionality, then obviously you will find dull and you don't want to visit that particular website again and again. So if the website is quite pleasant and easy to follow, and there is a kind of hierarchical maintain on a navigation section and the city option. City means a call to action button, so whether you can click or not. So if everything is aligned and everything is good, then you will find, you will feel good about the product, and you will continue browsing the application. But if you get frustrated and if you find any if you didn't find any like city option, and if you are unable to like identify whether you want to go, where you want to go, what do you want to do about the product, then you will irritate and you will move to the other websites and try to search on other things. So these are the things that comes under the user experience. In a simple terms, I would like to conclude, and I would like to tell that user experience is trying to understand the user pain point. So what are the bad experience they are experience, and what are the problems they are facing, and your role is to try to solve that problem. So in a simple terms, try to identify the problems and try to solve the problems. This is the user experience designer. Okay. Well, Kingsley also here, so we already discussed about the user experience. So I hope from tomorrow onwards, try to come on time so that you won't be missed. But I would like to inform you that I am recording our conversation, that class, and you can watch this video. I will later share you. Okay. So on Gmail also I created one spaces, so you can check there also. Yesterday's class also I added there. Okay. So yeah, now next, user interface. Okay, are you able to see my screen, or is there any problem? Okay, who is texting me?
No, I
At
can
this
see.
moment, I cannot. I don't know. It's just me. I'm not seeing.
Okay, you are not able to see, but I am sharing. Any other, Arfat, Tamil, are you able to see my screen or not? Is there
Yes,
any
sir.
problem?
I'm able to see your
Yes,
screen. No,
yes.
no, no.
It's visible.
Okay,
Audible.
so I think you have to check Faith, you have to check, and Kingsley, you have to check whether if you are not able to see the screen, then you have to rejoin.
It's
Okay.
No, no,
it's clear. I can
I'm
see it's
okay. I'm
visible now.
okay. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it from here.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Faith, what about you?
Visible.
Okay, visible, great. Thank you. Well, let's begin with the user interface. Okay. So, well, basically, user interface is the look, the aesthetic feels of any kind of mobile application, and a website is a kind of what do you call user interface. The layout and the graphical icons, the text, everything is comes under the what do you call the user interface. And as a UI designer, user interface designer, your job is to create aesthetically good and interactive. And another thing that is most important things is what you call your websites and your applications should able to um, interact with the user, and it should solve the user's problems. So that is the thing that user interface designers should design. So in a simple way, and user interface is related with using a tools. There are many tools like Figma, InVision, Sketch, and before it was like XD. So now I think Adobe has closed the XD. That is why we are not able to see in CC about the Adobe XD. Before between the 2016 to 2022, we are able to see the Adobe XD, but they have disconnected. And I think Adobe purchased the this Figma, and they are incorporated. So because of that, the Adobe company officially closed the Adobe XD. So we will be design our websites and the mobile application in Figma. And Figma is much more familiar, and it is easy to use, and it is easy to understand the things. And Figma has lots of other third-party plugins and some other inbuilt feature. Because of that, like creating a kind of digital product, it's quite very good. That is why we will use the Figma. And user interface, as I told you, it's simply a creating um, digital product, and non-functionable. Obviously it won't be like functionable, but we should able to create a mock-up or prototype as it looks like in a real, based on our user interface, based on our product. The developer will give a kind of function based on our design. So it is main role. So you have to understand the UX part, and you have to understand the user interface. User interface is more logical things that you have to use tools to design application based on the data and based on the factual that comes out from the UX designer. So because of that, the UX and UI design is incorporated. In a simple terms, they both are different, but they should combine together. Only then our product will be good, and it will ultimately it will help to solve the problems, okay, that are facing by the users. So these are the things that comes under the user experience design or user experience, and another is user interface. Okay, till now, is there any problem during these two terms, user interface and user experience?
I didn't get that.
Sorry.
Can you repeat your question?
So I was asking, did you get the idea of what it is a user experience and what is user interface? So is there any questions, or is
Yes,
there
I
any
did.
problem?
And
Okay.
no, I don't think. Am I correct by saying UX UI is inside the UX? Can we say that?
Sorry, could you please repeat it? So Faith, could you please repeat what you are saying, what you are asking?
Okay, so I said,
Mm-hmm.
can we say that UI is like a part of the UX?
Not exactly. We can't say a kind of part of the UX. Both are indifferent. Okay, both have a different timeline and both have a different path, but they have to incorporate with each other to work things in a better way. So it cannot be like UI. It's under the umbrella of UX design, or no, it's not like that. UX has a different part and UI has a different part. Okay, UX is related with the research and trying to understand the user flow and trying to understand the user pain point and their problems, and and based on the what do you call data and based on the information, based on the result, that he will build a kind of user interface. So it's not a part of the UX, but both are completely indifferent, but both should be in like aligned together. Let me mute the Kingsley. Okay, I will mute.
Can I?
Sorry, Kingsley, are you asking anything? I just muted. You are on a mute. Could you please unmute yourself and talk?
Okay, okay,
Okay.
yeah. I wanted to say something.
Yeah, please.
If I understand correctly, UX is like the back end of UI.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
So
correct?
not exactly a backend, but behind the scene, obviously. Okay. So user experience is not exactly a backend, but it is a kind of backend. You cannot say as a backend completely as a backend. But what it is it UX is always there in the front face. Before designing any kind of user interface, you have to do UX. Okay, you cannot say
Okay.
first I will do UI and then I will start the UX, or vice versa. No, there is no chance
Okay.
like that. First you have to do your user experience, try to identify the user columns, try to identify the targeted user, and try to identify the what are the problems, what are the solution, and based on that problems and the solution, you come up with a particular what do you call results, or some kind of data. You have to take the interview with the particular targeted audience, and based on the audience result, and you have to analyze the some kind of data, and based on that you have to come up with a kind of solution. So these are the possible solution, and based on that solution we are going to design the user interface. So these are the things that you have to. So UX and UI are two different things, but they come together to solve a problem. So this is the thing. So no,
Okay.
you can't say as a back end and front end. Both are
Okay.
inseparable. Both are aligned together. You have to understand likewise.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah. Any other?
No, I think I understand that now.
Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, Thamil, do you have any question, or did you understood anything, or if you have any questions, then obviously you can ask.
Uh, right now, I'm good with this. No
Okay.
doubt.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next, Riddhi also there, right? Or not? She is not here. Not here, I think. Okay. Well, Afad, do you have any kind of questions regarding the user experience in the user interface?
No, sir. No.
Okay, great. Okay, then we will let's move to the next point, that is HCD, UX, and CX. Okay. Regarding the UX, I already explained many things, so I would not repeat here, but I would introduce something called HCD and the CS. Okay. So well, HCD is related with a human-centered design, and CX is customer experience, and UX is a user experience. So HCD means human-centered design. So in a simple terms, what you have to understand is HCD is a kind of a process, or trying to identify, or trying to think about a kind of huge mass, particularly of people. For example, if some the human centered design is mostly followed by a government or commercial organization, when they have a specific kind of peoples, and when they wanted to target some specific groups of people, then they focus on kind of what you call a human centered design. So it is not exactly related with a kind of application, but let's say an Apple company try to build a kind of technology. Let's say recently they have launched a Vision Pro. So when they try to design this product, then they try to follow the HCD approach, because their audience are all mass human beings, and how they will use and what are the experience they will feel, and they try to identify those problems. Based on those problems, they try to come up with solution. So I hope you have watched the Vision Pro ads, and if not, then obviously I would suggest to watch. Okay, now our meeting I think going to end within a less than a minute, so I would like to request you to join again. Okay, so once it will off. Okay, so and next is hmm, yeah. Okay.
I can't see anything.
Hmm. Okay. No, I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, just a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
Uh, Okay, I think you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah, basically these are the things comes under the HCD, UX, and CX. See, here in a UX UI designer, we are not going to discover the HCD and the CX part because these are not like really aligned with our digital product. That is why I just introduced some kind of terminology so that you can find some kind of reference. And obviously, I will share this PPT, and you can get the reference link. I put the reference link on every slide so that you can understand in a better way. Yeah, Arfad, if you want to say something, then obviously you can.
Sir, I have one small doubt, sir.
Sure, please.
Sir, HCD is a process you told as experience.
Hmm.
It should be as on a trail basis or I didn't got that, sir, actually.
Sorry? Uh,
About H about HCD.
it's
HCD,
human-centered design, yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like in the sense, in the trail basis experience or the customer interface direct experience.
Not exactly a customer interface. It's like related with the human things, like human behavior, how you will interact with a kind of a real product. These are the things that comes under the HCD.
Yeah.
So well, I have mentioned a little bit small description. So human-centered design is an approach to defining and solving a problem from the perspective of the peoples who will depend on the
Yeah.
solution. So these are the things.
In
Basically,
the
it
sense,
is yeah.
resolving.
Yeah, resolving. Yeah, with all the points HCD, UX, and CX, all are a kind of trying to solve the problems. Okay, everything is like CX, customer experience is at the same time more general and more specific than UX. So sometimes what happens is customer experience is also a commercial approach. So sometimes what you have to think is your customer can be all the peoples, or sometimes your customer can be very specific group of people. So based on the targeted audience, you have to try to implement your approach. But here we are learning a UX UI designer for our mobile application and websites. That is why so HCD and CX is less important here. Okay, so more important and more we have to dive deep into the UX user experience. So rather than HCD and the CX. But at least if
Okay.
you able to know the terminology, then obviously you can find some kind of reference and some kind of other article, then you can learn by yourself. That is why I introduce, because sometimes whenever you try to face interview and some kind of like employer HR or a recruiter can ask what is HCD and have you heard of HCD or kind, because everything is related. It looks like similar, but it's not a similar. But the process in a general, the those three terms are trying to solve or try to identify the problem, and based on the problems they are trying to find the solution. Looks same, but the process, the targeted audience, and the way they try to solve the problem is a little bit different. Okay, that is why I introduced here. So yeah, we already discussed about the what do you called user experience, and now here we will discuss more about UCD. Okay, UCD is, okay, let's admit our faith. So user-centered design approach. So here in our field, UX UI designer, we have to follow the user-centered design approach. User-centered means, so you have to think first user. Whenever you are trying to design your mobile application or e-commerce platform like B2B. B2B means business to business, like Alibaba and AliExpress are the B2B platform. They directly deals with the business to business. So their customer is business houses. Okay, like in a wholesale sell reseller. So likewise. So anyway, so as a UX UI designer, what you have to do is you have to think your user first. You have to put, you cannot say I am a UX designer, I am aware of everything else, and my point of view is perfect, and my point of view is the right for this kind of problem, or this kind of is problem. For example, if you face a kind of problem, then you can say, okay, this is the problem, and you come up with the solution. No, you can't do this. Okay, as a UX designer, you have to put your user very first, and you have to think like a user. If someone faces any kind of problem, then how they will feel and how they are going to solve, or what kind of solution might be good to solve this kind of problem. So what you have to do, you have to put user at the very first. That is why the term is called user centered design approach. Whatever we are designing, whatever we are creating, always put your user in the very first. Okay, this is the thing that is telling user centered design, and you have to think, and while you are doing UI part and while you are doing UX part, you have to think your user at the very first, and you have to put the user at the center of your design. Each and every part you have to identify your user, and then you can go with follow the other procedure. So I'm going to read a few basic lines, whatever I hear it is. User-centered design approaches emphasis involving user throughout the design process to ensure the final product meet their needs and expectations. So while we are designing a kind of product, we are designing a product for the users. So finally, at the end of the launching of product, who will use? User will use the product. So if we are not able to understand their needs, what they are expecting, what they are facing a problem, and if we are not able to identify those problem, and if we are not able to solve those kind of problem, then we are not following user centered design. So what do you have to do? We have to understand their needs, we have to understand their expectation, what they want, how they want to use their application, and whether we are able to identify the pain points of the user or not. That we have to think, and the thinking process is called is UX designer or user experience. Okay, so and while trying to identify your user, what you have to do is you have to do the user research. So how you can do the user research is you can conduct the interviews, you can do the surveys, and you can do the usability test. Mostly usability test is done after the developing your prototype. Okay, so before that, what you have to do, you have to conduct the interviews and the survey. So based on your interviews and survey, you have to come up with a user persona, and particular this kind of user are going to use. For example, let me give you a simple example. Simply, let's say you are going to design a mobile application that is going to helpful for the gym visitors who want to register or who want to join the gym. So there are so many people around the in our locality, in our community. Everyone are not going to join the gym. There are very few basic specific users are there who want to join or who want to participate and who want to continue their gymming. So what we have to identify, the first try to identify the user who are going to use that application. So who want to join the gym, they are going to use our application, and based on this kind of periphery we have to conduct the interview. So how to conduct the interview? So we have to prepare the few questions, so related with the obviously our application. So what kind of application do you want, what kind of things or what are the problems that you are facing. If there is a product, then you have to ask your user, so what kind of problems that you are facing. And you cannot conduct interviews or surveys online and virtually, or maybe just sitting on your desk and you cannot tick the things, tick the mark. What you have to do is you have to be a go to in a real market and you have to conduct the interviews. So these are the things that you have to follow. Just getting some kind of data on your desk is it's not feasible and it won't work. What you have to do, you have to go to the field and try to find out the interview, try to find out your user and try to find out your targeted audience, and based on that audience you have to try to conduct the interview surveys. Okay, so obviously at the very beginning also you have to conduct the interviews and survey, and after the design and development of your prototype you have to again conduct the interviews, surveys and usability tests. Why? Because after developing your prototype or product, what you have to do is you have to ask them, so did you feel any good about it, did you solve and did you able to find out the easy path, and are you able to try to whatever task you are trying to achieve, are you able to achieve that task in a rapid or it takes time. So these are the questions that you have to ask. Okay, there are some of the sample questions, obviously I will share in later, but these are the things. And the questions will always depend on your application, what kind of application, what kind of product that you are designing. It depends upon that particular product. Well, and next is persona and scenario. So based on your user research, what you have to do is you have to come up with a particular persona. What kind of person is there? So persona means simply a person, okay, that can be male, female, and like a housewife or single or widow or anything. So you have to create a kind of persona, what kind of person and what kind of actual audience. So it can be a virtual or it can be a imaginary, but at least you have to come up with a specific demographic details and their biography also. So these are the things, and there is a one specific template which I will going to share you, and based on that template you have to design. So in this class, obviously don't worry about that I will explain in later what are the template, how to use and how to identify the personnel. These are things also I will explain in a depth in next class. Okay, so well, next is the scenario. So scenario means what are the scenario, how you are going to use, and you have to try to understand when the application is going to apply and when it's going to use. So based on that particular everything and based on those criteria that you have to come up with persona and scenario. So and these are the things. And next is information architecture. Information architecture is in simple terms, it comes like a navigation and user flows or a process, how your user is going to follow your procedure. For example, in a simple way, let's take an example of e-commerce platform. If you are going to purchase a product, there is a specific what you called flow, user flow. First you search the product, second you select the product, next you put the product in add to cart, and then you go to the checkout process, and then you go to the after the checkout you will put your address. Okay, and after that payment will be there, and then delivery option. So this is the process, this is the fine process. Okay, while doing the process, obviously there is a kind of user experience. What are the clicks that you want to reduce? For example, while selecting product, how many times you want to, we can see maybe there are two different CTA option, like click to action. Like one is add to cart and another one is buy now. So add to cart means if you are planning to purchase multiple products, then you can add to cart, and then lastly you can proceed to the checkout. But if you want to product particular one product, then automatically you can click on buy now and you can jump to the what do you call checkout process. So these are the process, these are the flows comes under the information architecture. Okay, so these are the things. And next is wireframing and prototyping. So based on our user research, based on our personas and scenario, based on our information and architecture, we are going to design our or creating our wireframing and the prototype. Wireframing is simply sketched. So where your what do you call logo will be and where your navigation will be there. So these are the simple outline, a kind of rough drawing will be there as in wireframe. And prototyping is a kind of functional kind of what do you call mockups or product. And next, creating low fidelity sketches and the interactive prototype to test the iterate design concept. So whatever you are going to build at the last, so first we have to come up with a kind of rough sketch, and based on that rough sketch, we are going to create a kind of high fidelity mockup, or and then based on that mockup, we'll give kind of link. Whenever we click some particular things, then it will move to the second stage and second phase or second phase. That are the things comes under the wireframing and prototyping. Wireframing and prototyping is related with the Figma application, but before that we have to understand the user research, and we have to understand the personas and scenario, and we have to understand and we have to create the information architecture. Based on those things, we will design our wireframing and prototyping. These are the things that comes under. Okay, so yeah, now I will ask with you. So is there any question or is there any problem that you faced, or is there anything that you want, and did you understood or not?
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, and don't worry about that. I will share the slide also, and you will able to see yourself also. And one more thing that I would like to include here: do not depend only this particular 1 hour of class. So you have to go beyond that. You have to do your own research. See, I am just introducing some kind of basic terminology, obviously, because it's completely a crash course. That is why I am taking much time to explain some kind of small topics. Okay, so and what you have to do is you have to do your own research so that you can understand in a better way. That is why I put the reference also, so you can click the reference and you can check the other detail other in detail. Okay, so yeah, Kingsley and Tamil, are you able to understand what am I trying to say, what am I trying to explain? Are you able to understand the things or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
yeah,
I
Faith.
understood.
Great. uh, yeah, Faith, what is happening to your end? Is there any problem that you are like
I don't know. I guess
Um,
it's no.
hmm, okay, anyway, so yeah, next. Today I am basically describing the terminology. Okay, we will include everything like let me again go with the user centers, user research, personas, okay, information architecture, and wireframing and prototype. We will continue further. It's a huge topic and huge terms that we will learn later. Just I am trying to introduce the things, that the terminology that you find a little bit familiar while we are actually working with the application. Okay, I'm just giving a kind of theoretical knowledge of those terms. So now, in a simple way, there is nothing much more about it. Just a role of UX UI designer in product development. Product development is creating a product. So in a simple way, UX UI designers collaborate with a cross-functional team, including product manager, developer, and marketer. Obviously, while doing your research, while trying to identify the user problems, and while you are trying to identify the pain point, at that time you have to like work with multiple teams. So this is the thing as a UX UI designer have to do. And after that is conduct a user research and analyze the data to identify user need and the pain points. So obviously, as I mentioned, that you have to do your user research, and based on the surveys and interview, you have to come up with specific answer. Well, and after that, what you have to do, you have to create a wireframe. So on the second point, we have mentioned research and analyze data to identify user needs and pain points. Based on that, what we have to create, we have to come up with the information architecture, and then we have to create a wireframe, mockup, and prototype to visualize design concepts. So everything is depend on, up to now everything is depend on concept. It's just a concept, okay? And after the concept, what we have to do, we have to wireframe sketch, and we have to come up with a specific, what do you call, validate. So next is conduct usability testing to validate and refine a design solution. So once you build your wireframe, once you build your mockup and a prototype, after that what you have to do, we have to test the usability test. That means is like you have to test whether that particular app is really solving the problem or not, or it is making much more worse. We have to find out, okay? And based on that usability test, again we have to redesign or refine our design, whatever we design. So now again we have to change the slightly, there will be a slightly change after the like usability test, and then we have to redesign the solution and work closely with a developer to ensure the implementation align with design. So once you did your usability test, and after the usability test you did your redesign, and then you have to work with the developer so that you can share the files, assets, okay, icons, and the typography, the margin padding. Obviously it will come later. So these are the things that you have to explain them. You have to say these are the things that are the going, and this is the function, and this is the way how it flows. So that you have to explain each and every time, and you have to be like communication in touch with the developer team, so that they can understand your vision, and so that they can understand your design. So yeah, these are the roles that UX UI designer has to fulfill. Okay. So yeah, now I will like to go a little bit to technical terms, and I will show you something. And design principle, while designing you have to follow these kind of principle. Generally these design principle, it comes under the graphic design, but I am including here is because that you all are a very beginner in a design field, some are very beginner in design fields, that is why I included this principle. But generally basically this principle comes under the graphic design. So well, before explaining anything about that, I would like to ask you, have you ever heard these design principles? So let's start with Kingsley. Do you have any idea about design principles?
Not so much. Yeah,
Okay.
but I do have a little one or two things.
Okay, great. So well, let's move to the fact then.
Yes, sir. I also don't know.
Okay, okay, no
Uh,
worries. That is why I included. I know. Okay, I hope. Okay, next, Thamin, do you have any idea about the design principle?
Yes, I just know all of this.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. So, yeah, and well, let's hear from some insight from you. Obviously, I am just feeling that I am explaining the things. We have to be a like communicative, and we have to be a discussion session. So let's hear from you. So, what is a design principle, and what do you understand about this thing?
So basically, we know principle is the word, we are setting a base or rule, some kind of rules, like we have to keep in mind, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to design
Yeah.
accordingly. So
Okay.
there are some specific principles, like we have to follow that specific rule.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the good UI design must be simple. So it's like principle of simplicity, or uh, so we used to say not only the design should be visually appealing,
Mm-hmm.
but it should be simple, uh, so the user can use it as simple as he can, and he can get what he wants.
Yeah,
So
true.
that is simplicity.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Samil. Thank you for saying. Okay, now let's ask with the faith. Okay, do you have any idea about the design principles?
Yeah, Chetan. Yeah, sure, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, when you're on an app or a website,
Mm-hmm.
you look at it, you just, there's this feeling it gives you.
Mm-hmm.
If you tend to see one thing so many times, it could get boring,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to make it look a little bit of some varieties, and sometimes you make it look a little bit of difference so that you don't bring in cognitive overload. Let me just break that down. You don't want to bring too much load on
Mm-hmm.
your users. You want your users to enjoy the experience. So, for example, if you bring all the right things
Mm-hmm.
together, it makes things over choked up. So
Mm-hmm.
you need white space there, just some space to make the readers be able to read properly.
Yeah,
And of
true.
course, you need some sort of balance. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to use, like I say, you don't want to use too many of the same things. You just want to vary some things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some things like that. So contrast too. You want to use colors that would appeal to the users and all that. So let me just stop there. I think I've talked about three things that will make
Mm-hmm.
the experience very fine for the users.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. Yeah, thank you. And yeah.
Okay, if I may add, just to clarify my if my understanding is relating to what is it? Let me use color for instance in in design principle. I think it deals with color match and other stuff. Take for instance, you have to look out for what color goes, like the color principle. There are colors that go hand in hand. If you want to use the three color principle or more than that, there are color. You have to combine the colors that you know uh, that works hand in hand, if I may use that. And you have to also consider that in every other aspect, be it the color that you will use in your write-ups or the logo, the background, and other stuff. I don't know if it relates. So
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not able to hear very clearly whether I am not I am justifying your answer or not. So, in a simple terms, what you have to think is while applying the color is you have to follow the color principle. Okay, Faith. Yeah, please go ahead if you want to say something.
Yeah. Apologies, I'm taking the words out of your mouth. Sorry, I should have allowed you to finish that. But
Mm.
let me be straightforward. Let me just say one line
Mm-hmm.
that designers are directional people. Directional in the sense that we guide our users in the right direction to take. So we need to just understand that our users do not have too much time to waste. They don't have too much time to think. So we need to make it easier for them to just quickly make a decision and move on. So that's where the design principles come to play. We just have to direct their eyes the right place and get them to take action straight up in less time.
Yeah, good. That is the thing that you have to think. Yes, while you as a UX UI designer, don't let user to think. So there is a one famous quote by Don something, Non or Don something, one great writer of designer writers, and he quoted that
Don
particular
Newman.
don't yeah non-humor yeah, and don't make me think. So what we have to do is while as a working as a UX UI designer, what we have to prepare is we don't let our user to think while using any kind of product. They just have to follow, or we have to present them in such a way that so that they can visually follow the direction and they can immediately take action. So yeah, these are the things. Anyway, you have a good idea, a good amount of idea. Let me explain in a very short. Okay, balance is like creating some kind of balance with the design. For example, in a right side, in a left side, while we are placing some kind of content, let's browse some kind of websites. Okay, so that we can explain in a better way. Okay, so let's go with Apple itself. And let me put you something. So whenever you are trying to learn something, go with kind of huge platform that are quite famous and that are everyone is using. Go with that. Don't go and don't like stick with some kind of local things. Okay, try to explore as much as you can. Okay, so you have to think beyond a kind of line. There is one small thing that you have to think out of the box. Likewise, you have to do is like you have to think beyond and you have to try to multiple apps which are mostly famous in the market, so that you can understand how they are trying to like come up with the user experience. See, if you like okay. So if you able to see the Apple's screen, then obviously in the top of the line you can see the simply menu. Okay, there is no any home and there is no any back. Instead of that, you can see a very clean navigation, and whatever we are looking for, we will go into it. For example, if you want to go to the store, simply we can click on that and we can particularly go. And whenever they launch a particular any product, then they will put in the first hero section and they will put the name of that product. And if someone want to understand the particular product in a detail, then they can particularly go into the another page. But for the front page, they are trying to keep it very simple and minimal. They are just giving a kind of, we don't have to think much more about it. Okay, it's iPhone 14 Pro, simple. If you want to learn what it is, then we can click on learn more, then we can learn. And if you want to buy, then obviously we can directly go. So they are reducing the steps also, they are reducing the user flow. For example, what they might be do is they can click on learn more, and once we are enter into the particular page, and after that we can buy. But they are putting two things, CTA, like learn more and buy. And you can see the color hierarchy also. For the simple text that are non CTA, they are not clickable, then they are in a normal white color for the black screen. Okay, and but the action button, the clickable button are in a blue color, and when we hovered over them, then there will be a kind of slightly change, there is an underline. So we can find easily where to go and how to find, and it's balanced. See, the alignment is in a such a way so that it looks a very symmetric and in a center. So these are the things that we have to follow. So in a simple terms, that we are talking about the design principle. So balance, try to balance your image and your text simply while observing our websites, Apple's website. We can see the balance between our text and our picture. So it is symmetrically aligned. Symmetric means everything proportionally assigned. There is not symmetric. So these are the things that we have to think. And contrast, color variation, you can choose like if you want to play with the contrast, then what sometimes you can give it a like a color variation, or maybe in a size also you can make it bigger and small. For example, simply as iPhone 14 Pro is in a bigger font, and Pro Beyond is a little bit smaller, so we can see the kind of contrast. And there is another text, learn more and buy, that are in a blue color. There is a slightly different. We can identify there are three different things. So likewise, there is a kind of simple contrast. Yeah, Faith, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chaitan. I have a question.
Yes, yeah.
I know. Sorry, sorry, my classmates would have to would
No,
have
no, no,
to.
it's okay. You have to ask
I'm
question. You have to.
sorry, but
No,
I
no,
think
it's okay.
I'll be as you know I try to follow my classmates the way they are. But let me just say this question that would you consider it a good user experience to have two CTAs, and they're all calling for attention at the same time? Would you consider that a user experience, good user experience?
No, see, it depends upon like content. If there is a lots of content and you're trying to like give you a much more information than anything else, then obviously putting a more city option won't be good. But here, if we try to observe this particular site and how they are trying to present it, they are giving two different options where you want to do. First, you want to understand the iPhone, or if you have under a basic understanding, or if you have already known about the iPhone product, then you can go directly to the purchasing what do you call page. So they are giving a two different options. They are not giving multiple options. So if you want to understand, then go for the understanding part and you can read all the details what it is. If not, if you have a good understanding about the product, then go for the buy. So based on your user or based on your audience. So for example, let's see some other user first, they have to like in a simple way. If you are selling a local product, what you have to do is you have to aware them what it is. Everything you have to first you have to guide them. If let's say simple in a simple way that you are selling a shoes, then you have to give them what kind of brand it is. Okay, if you are selling a Nike, then you don't have to give them a multiple city option. But if you are selling a local product, then first you have to introduce themselves, make them aware it is branded, it is a good quality. Okay, whether it is local or international, but at least you have to give them some kind of idea, and based on that idea they will purchase. So here Apple is trying to give you the a kind of two different, only basic two different options. First, Apple is big renowned
Yeah.
company, that is why they don't have to put so many CTA, but only they are giving two different options. Whether if you are Android user, then you have to understand the first iPhone 14 what it is, then you can purchase. That is why based on your user or targeted audience, and if what you are trying to do, and based on that things you have to put your CTA. Obviously putting lots of CTA doesn't mean that you are giving you a bad impression. It depends upon your user.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you, Chitan.
Yeah.
One
Okay.
more question, sorry.
Yes, yes, please go ahead, go ahead.
um. Okay. So I know I used to see two CTAs together,
Hmm.
right? And it's normal to see that, but I'm just looking at this that okay, is this the nav bar?
Sorry.
Okay, so let me just ask my question anyway. So
Yeah.
these two CTAs are together, but it seems that there is no, no. I don't use a simpler word. I don't want to use high. Okay, let me just use hierarchy.
Mhm.
There seems to be two. There's no difference in the two CTAs. So I don't know. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
So, see, I'm not able to clearly understand your question. That is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Okay. Uh. Okay. I'm just looking for the best word to like make it. Okay. Here's the thing. The CTAs are standing side by side,
hmm,
right? And
okay, yeah,
they both seem to be calling to action,
hmm,
at the same time.
yeah,
What I've seen is one is of less, like we're talking about design principles. I'm thinking I
hmm,
could be wrong. I'm thinking
hmm.
one should be lesser color than the other one, just for the sake of directing. Okay, either you choose this or you choose that. But I have two things in my eyes now. Should I learn more? Should I buy? Which one would I take? I don't know.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I stand to be corrected.
Okay, I think I understood your question. Well, let me explain in a way. So here, see, it depends upon what kind of color variation or hierarchy that you wanted to give for a particular CTA. It depends upon obviously the final result. Okay. So what comes after? Whenever you put the CTA option, that you have to think the what will be the future process. So what you are trying to do. So here they are putting these two CTA on a same line, same color, everything is same because their intention is to, like, they are putting two different audience. First, they are thinking two different user. One is one is not having good knowledge about the iPhone. Okay, because of that they are putting learn more. First, for example, if one Android user is there, then they should understand what is iPhone, because their environment is completely different, isn't it? So Android and iPhone is quite different. And another is
Yeah.
buy section is there. Buy section means buy city option is there because some user, they are assuming that the user who is going to click on a buy, that they know about the product, or maybe they are using already. Oh shit. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Based on your research, that you have to make the city option as much as possible. Like, you have to prioritize your city option based on your user and what will be the future action. What are you trying to do with your city option? For example, let's say in a simple website, what we'll find. I will try to search some simple website so that you can we can identify. Let's say what kind of application would be good. Hmm, anything like any website? No, it doesn't have. Let's go with the Canva itself. Okay, and then let's find out. Let's go with the first. Okay, here. So yeah. So like there is a two different city, right? We can see the. I hope you are seeing my screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. So yeah, look at that. We have two different sheet here. One is continue with the Google, that is highlighted, and there is another one is continue with another way. So boss, firstly, the both the CTA option are same. Just they are giving the access, okay, login access to the Canva, but they are putting more, sorry, highlight on Google one, cause most of the user have a Gmail ID. They are assuming that things. Because of that, they are prioritizing the first city option, and then they are giving us some other option. Because nowadays mostly everyone is using Google platform, and they need to like identify very easily. They are not giving a kind of time or a room for the thinking. They are automatically, obviously, when we like simply saw the kind of dialogues, and we will automatically click on continue with the Google. But instead of that, there is giving a continue. Some other maybe some other are using like Hotmail, Microsoft account, or maybe Apple ID or any other ID. Likewise, they are prioritizing the thing. So what will be the future action, or what we are trying to do? So we have to think that future steps, and then we have to decide what kind of CTA and what kind of color, what kind of hierarchy we have to give it to the particular CTA option. These are the things that we have to think before putting some kind of color variation on our CTA. So I hope I'm able to answer your question, or is there anything?
I think that helps. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chifa.
You're
Thank
welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So yeah, and any other questions like from other Afat or Thamil or Kingsley? Is there any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, I hope you are understanding. If you are not understanding, obviously you can ask a question. And I'm trying to in today's class also, I'm not going in a deeper session, just trying to like a discussion, trying to do a kind of discussion so that you will be familiar with some kind of terminology. I hope you are understanding what am I trying to say. Well, we are discussing about the balance and contrast, and emphasis is also putting the hierarchy. Which one should be highlighted? Where you want to like direct your eyes in a simple way. There we can see there are what do you call some kind of brown objects are there, and there is one color, yellow color. Because of that we are focusing on that things. We can see the yellow color in very first, and then later there are others. So it is a kind of emphasis where you want to put the emphasis. Yeah, Arfad, do you want to ask anything?
Yeah, sir. I have a small doubt.
Sure, please.
Is there any kind of rule of color that should be applied, like black contrast as a balancing, and any color like we can apply, or is there any kind of some kind of particular colors which
No, yeah, there
can?
is a color theories. See, based on the color theories and based on your brand, that you have to choose a particular specific color. And generally, a kind of huge brand only have a one or a two color, and so you have to
Yeah,
depend on only one and two colors only. And based on that, you have to come up with the variation. And while trying to come up with the variation, there is a kind of different rules as to how you can come up with a different variation. So complementary shade, and you have to choose a kind of what do you call it, hue and saturation, and based on that you can identify the color variation.
yeah.
Obviously we will talk about the color theory in a deeper level while we are designing our, or while we are creating our wireframing. Yeah, there is a color
Okay,
theory, and
sir.
based on
Okay.
that color theory we have to choose the colors and things.
Yeah,
So in a simple way, why we are discussing about the apple, so apple is going with the white and black. In a design terms,
yeah.
generally we never count black and white as a color because it's simple basic things. But still, black means a kind of bold and the luxury. So this is a kind of simple terms as a while understanding as a color theory. So it depends. So there is
Yeah.
a color theories, and we will discuss
Okay,
further.
sir.
So yeah,
Okay.
in a here the design principle is related with the graphics things only. Okay, UX UI design principle is a different thing that we will discuss further. But here it is related with the layout things. So we have to understand the graphic design principle so that we can design our application aesthetically. So likewise, balance, contrast, emphasis. Emphasis means putting highlights on particular things, and movement. So you are trying to give a kind of movement where to move your eyes. So it is so next is rhythm, and next is hierarchy. Rhythm means like kind of organizing your content in a particular space and putting some kind of pattern, and giving a kind of a patternic result. And hierarchy means where to follow and where to end. In a simple way, here in a slide, if you can see, like design principle word is a little bit highlighted. It is in a different color. It is in bigger font size. Likewise, the paragraph is in a simple and small font. Okay, and below the paragraph there is a reference, and after the reference there is a pink color with a underlined, cause it is hyperlinked. So these kind of hierarchy that you have to follow. So where to follow, where to start, and where to end. So you have to give them a kind of hierarchy. And next is a white space. And white space, like in simple example, I will give you one. It comes under the negative space also. And white space is giving a room for the like for your content. In a simple example, whenever if you try to sit on a very congested room, a very tight room, you will feel suffocated, and you want to like explore the a little bit wider space. Likewise, our content should have a what do you call room for the breath. Okay, so they need a kind of space. Likewise, here you can see in a simple layout here in our slide what there is a very wide space from the like there is a one paragraph, and below the paragraph there is a completely wide space, there below there is a completely wide space. Okay, these are the things that you have to follow. It's just a simple example. Okay, wide space always depends on other things also, but you have to give them a kind of area to breathe your content. You can't like put everything in one particular small area and like messing around things. You have to give them a proper wide space so that they can play around and user can follow the direction, and white space also create the movement. And another thing that you have to think all the principles are correlated with all the principles, that it will give a visually aesthetic and functional things and good layout. So you have to think. And unity, obviously unity is like related with the things like you have to prepare your content, try to make it a kind of group together. For example, here what I did is heading is just above the picture, and there is a paragraph and a reference link is on another side. So likewise, what you have to try to give a kind of unity, a kind of uniformity on your design, so that user can find what they are trying to look. For example, on a contact page, if you put so many details, everything about the company, everything about your team, and everything about all other some other information, if you try to put on particular one page, then the page won't look good and it won't good looks and as a unity wise. What you have to do is you have to think about, if you are designing the contact page, then there should be a specific things only related with the contact only. So likewise you have to think. So these are the things that we are, again we will discuss while we are designing our creating wireframing and designing our prototypes. But at least you have to understand those basic terms and try to go find out yourself also. I am sharing the principle of design. There is a one article that you can read. Okay, and what do you call, I would like to like request you to do not depend on particular this 1 hour or whatever it's class. You have to go beyond this class to understand and to grab the idea in a better way. Here I am here only, I'll give you some kind of explanation the things, and if you have a problem then I can clarify the things. But what you have to do is you have to go beyond this 1 hour class and try to research yourself and come out with the answer and try to discuss in this class, so that you can find the solution from myself. Okay, well, yeah, finally I think we are not able to getting chance to discuss about the case studies also. I think we will discuss tomorrow about the case study. Okay, I think
Okay, sir.
I think
Okay, sir.
it's going a little bit longer. I think we moved to the almost 1 and 30 hours, so it's a little bit longer as I expected. So we will introduce and we will see the what are the use case study in a basic way, and then we will move forward likewise. So today also it's a completely a theoretical classes, so that I'm trying to introduce some kind of terminology that we are going to see again and we are going to explore in a few other modules also. So these are the things that we will understand. We will try to come up with. Okay, and for tomorrow I will give you a basic assignment. So try to come up and try to understand this design principle. Do not go with the UX UI design principle. It is different. Okay. So this is graphic design principle. So try to find out. Obviously, I will share this PPT on our space, and you can check from there. But at least try to find out what it is and how you can do, and read the few articles. And one more thing, Anyone, do you have any like a basic idea to use any application like Photoshop, Illustrator, or Figma?
Photoshop, a little bit no, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Like editing, the exposures, the contrast.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit the cuttings and all.
Okay, so yeah, it is a kind of similar to like application, and
Um,
whatever you are designing, try to now. I think you have to download the Figma. If you haven't downloaded any Figma, then try to download the
yeah,
Figma. Okay, and try to
yeah.
use try to use the tools. There are some basic tools like pen tools, shape tools. There are basic. Try to familiar with this. Okay, now let's go to the Tamil. Do you have design? Do you have used any design tools like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Figma, or anything?
Yes, sir. I use Figma.
Okay,
Like I
great.
just know about the basic tools.
Okay, great. Okay, now let's move to the Kingsley. Do you have any idea, or you don't have any idea so about the design tools?
Yes, I use Adobe Photoshop a long
Photoshop.
time ago.
Okay. So see, it's Figma is a kind of similar to the Photoshop. Obviously, Photoshop has a lots of other option and other tools to use, but in Figma there are basic things like pen tools, step tools, and the text tool. These are the things that we can find. Try to if you haven't downloaded the Figma, then try to download the Figma and try to use it. Try to be just familiar with the tools and the interface. Later on we will discuss. So I hope regarding the tools, I don't have to ask a multiple question with the Faith. You have downloaded and you are already using the Figma, right, Faith?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, these are the things that today I discussed. It's just basic things, and we will discuss further more about the case studies on next class, and we will dive a little bit deep into in some other related topics. Okay, is there anything that you want to
Okay, sir.
share?
No, sir, nothing.
Okay, so
Just clear.
Thamil, do you have any question or you want to share anything and how you are feeling about the classes? I don't know whether you are liking it or not.
Yes, actually the class is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like um, like how can I say? Day by day, like I'm getting a better understanding.
Okay, great. So obviously, yeah, it's just today is just a theoretical class. Yesterday we just discussed about the module that what are the module that we are going to learn, and today a little bit deeper into the first module. And yeah, okay, go ahead. Anything else? Okay, let's ask with the Kingsley. And are you able to understand the things that we are discussing? And do you have any confusion, or and how do you like feeling about the classes? What do you think about? So share your thought, overall experience.
Yeah, the class is good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's just that I think even yesterday and today, I missed some, you know, little stuff. Well, I'm catching up. I'm catching up.
No,
The class is good. I appreciate. I'm picking up new stuff every day. Yeah,
no.
it's good.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Faith, yeah, go ahead. What is your experience up to now?
Well, I would say I'm learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For example, just around learning the call to action button,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned something new, right?
Okay.
Because I've never looked at Apple website the way it is now. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't look like it has a nav bar,
Uh-huh.
but it's something that I need to learn. I think design is basically about being curious and keep learning. So while in class, I'm learning from my other classmates too. There are things I've learned so far about the other design tools they also use. So I'm still
Mm-hmm.
learning. I appreciate the learning, the learning, what do you call it, arrangements. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay, yeah, great. So, and let me put a thing. See, we are a UX UI designer. Don't always say positive thing. See, I am a critical thinker, and we have to be very critical towards our class. Don't say like we are liking the classes. There are lots of problems that while we are discussing, and there are so many. Sometimes there are so many topics that I missed, and maybe while I'm speaking, maybe I'm not able to like giving you a clear understanding about some particular topic. So you have to be a little bit critical as a UX UI designer. You cannot say okay, everything whatever you are hearing, everything is right. So try to be very critical, and try to like while try to what do you call reacting, don't be negative, try to be a critical. And you have to respond like a critical person, so that you can have a different perspective towards the object and towards any digital products. Nowadays, now from now on, what you have to do is as a UX UI designer, you have to think in a different way. At the same time you are a designer, and at the same time you have to be a customer. So whenever customer is using that particular app, you have to like use your app, and you are following or you are reading. If you are reading, then the app is not good. You have to understand immediately, and you have to find out the solution as a designer perspective. So likewise you can practice. Okay, so and I will give you like a two different assignments. So first one is the try to understand the design principle, only the graphic design principles. First, these are the terms like balance, contrast, okay, and emphasis, movement and rhythm. These are the things that you have to try to understand that in a little bit deeper sense. And next is come up with one particular idea for our product design. Like someone is trying to sell the shoes online, okay, or someone is trying to design a mobile application app that can help to book a particular time, book a particular time for the gymming, or you can come up with a particular let's say booking chocolate for your loved one, or anything. Come up with one specific particular idea, or you can come up with multiple ideas and we can discuss and we can finalize one of them. But at least you have to come up with one or two ideas about your product. Based on that product, we are learning our course throughout the modules. Okay, so I think we are around at the end of this class, so let's unmute your mic and try to back and forth. Okay, so yeah, so I hope you understand my questions or assignment that what you have to do. Did you understand anything, or you want? Do I need to explain again?
Okay. I don't know how much time we have, but I think I missed that click to action part. I was having a little glitch with my network, so I was trying to reconnect and all that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I missed.
No worries about that. Because I'm uploading this course on a YouTube, and I will share the link on our Gmail space, and you can watch again. Okay. No
Okay,
worries
okay,
about that.
okay. That'll be
You can revisit the our videos.
okay. That would be great. I would like to rewatch it.
Okay, okay, sure. So yeah, Thamil, do you have anything like? Do you understand your assignment? What do you have to do? And is there any questions that you want to ask?
Um.
Yeah, but one doubt.
Sure, please go ahead.
So we have to come up with any one idea. Like, may I know exactly what kind of idea?
Okay, any idea means
Idea.
like, for example, let's say in your localities there might be a kind of what do you call a bakery shop. Okay, the bakery shop
Okay.
want to sell the product digitally. So you can come up with the idea. One bakery shop is there. They want to sell the product simply. So
Okay.
your task is to design a bakery app that can that is like sell the bake like a cake and the pastries. These are the things. So try to think like that. So you try to come up with multiple ideas. You can come up with 3 4 ideas. At least try to come up with a few basic ideas so that we can discuss and we can finalize one particular idea. So it doesn't have to be a very specific. Just try to come up with a few ideas. Like in as a simple example, if we took example of Amazon, then so simply Amazon is trying to sell the product, like multiple product, right? It is not focusing on a particular product.
Okay.
There are multiple products. Likewise, you can focus on particular product. So we cannot implement so much idea in this course. That is why you try to be very specific so that it can be a easy while as a learning. So while we are learning, don't go the complex ideas. Try to come up with a very simple and specific idea. Try to let's say online app that sells shoes, or online app that sells the bake, or some online app that sells the cake pastry, or online app that sells the local shoes, or anything. You can see your locality and what are the products that you can see, and that you can sell on online.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. And Arfad, do you have any do you understand what is your assignment and what do you have to do, or you have any confusion?
Hi, sir. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, the graphic designer tools, and yeah, I heard about the interface of application, how to
Okay.
like the bakery, and you told about that.
So yeah, you have to come up with a one specific idea. Like idea means designing an app for selling your shoes online, online selling app, a kind of like this. Okay,
Yeah,
that might be maybe next idea would be selling what do you call biryani on online
yeah,
biryani selling app, or anything.
yeah.
Anything you can. It should be a digital, obviously. You can
Okay,
think
sir.
of a mobile application or a desktop application, but come up with idea.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
sir. Any kind of innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got
And
it, sir. Thank you.
now here, Faith, I think he is connecting. So Faith, can you speak? Am I audible to you? I can see that you're connecting to audio. I don't know whether you are able to hear my voice or not. I think we have to end. It's going. I don't know whether. Let's ask with the. I use
Maybe he
Figma.
left, sir.
No, he's there. He's joining, and I can see the connecting to the audio. Let's ask. I don't know whether he will answer in. Hi. Okay, he's gone. I think there is a problem with the internet. So let's wrap up this class. I hope you are able to learn something, and I'm eager to see in the next class. And I hope you will come up with idea, and then we can discuss further. Okay, and we will move towards our second module.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's end this class. Okay, thank you for your class, and I appreciate your
Thank you so much, sir.
present in
All
this
right.
class.
Thank you, sir, for the class.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay, great. Okay, thank you. Have a
Okay,
nice
sir.
good night, all of you. I hope.
Very good night, sir. Very good night.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good night.
okay. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye, sir.